Journalism, especially local journalism, is at an inflection point. To put it bluntly, it's in danger. But there are those trying to help change that, from major philanthropies donating hundreds of millions of dollars to everyday men and women who are doing their part. Enter the Documenters, a group empowering local community members to attend public hearings, meetings, and then report back. It's the everyday run-of-the-mill heroics that often go unseen and are rarely celebrated. Here's their story.
Good evening. Are any of you registered to give public comment this evening?
When I was in the 8th grade, my history teacher, Mrs. True, said that nosy people like history. And although I don't really consider myself a nosy person, I do love learning about peoples and cultures.
My name is Kelly. I'm with Signal Cleveland and the Cleveland Documenters.
And I do believe it's our responsibility because it's a representative government.
Are you guys familiar with Signal Cleveland and the Documenters? So we're Signal Cleveland. It's online news, and we document the meeting every week.
Every single day, people are making decisions about their lives, and people have no idea until it actually becomes an issue for them.
This edition of the Barberton Herald marks the end of an era.
For the newsroom employees who lost their jobs today, there is also concern that local journalism will suffer as more and more journalists are shown the door.
This week's edition is focusing on the new middle school that's being built. You won't find that story in the New York Times.
Will city councils go uncovered? Will shady business deals go uncovered?
A recent news ecosystem study done by the Cleveland Foundation and the Knight Foundation found that only 11% of the news produced in Cleveland about Cleveland, only 11% served a critical information need.
There are hundreds of places in the United States that are absolute local news deserts, and that means there is no local news. We've divorced the way we inform ourselves from the geography of where we live it. How do you elect people? You elect them by districts that are geographically determined. That's a train crash begging to happen. One of the things we're doing at Knight Foundation, we've spent literally hundreds of millions of dollars funding local news experiments to try to find the model that will work both to engage audience and to make it a business.
Alrighty, calling this Cleveland City Council meeting on October 23rd, 2023 to order. All right, we will now move to public comment. Our first person here.
Even though these meetings are open to the public, very little of the information from these meetings gets out to residents, even though the whole reason why they are open to the public is to make sure that the residents can get the information from these meetings.
I stand before you today as a proud resident of Ward 15, a mom of two beautiful girls.
So we train folks and we pay them to go to these meetings and then document these meetings.
Thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to present public comment tonight.
I don't have an agenda or a spin. I'm just writing from a layperson's position as I see it, and what I see as important. And that's the whole point, that anyone can be a documenter. It doesn't require any special level of education.
When I heard about Signal Cleveland coming together, the first thing that people talked about is helping form this newsroom was the Documenters.
Has he kept that promise?
Yeah. I mean, in a nutshell, I saw this as sort of this potential to help change up the declining resources at most news organizations.
Thanks for joining us today to learn and to share about documenting public meetings. We have around 700 folks who have signed up, and then I believe it's somewhere around 400 or so folks who have actually attended an orientation or a training. Becoming a documenter is a relatively simple process. For anyone interested in Documenters work, you don't have to take assignments. You actually don't even have to have signed up at documenters.org to join us here.
They're not writing stories, they're just recording what they're seeing and hearing.
When we started, there was no record. There was nobody doing this. And so there's no examples of how to do it.
We look for news that I can then draw out as a story or assign to someone or use it in a newsletter. It's become invaluable.
Today is really going to be about the election. There are a couple questions. The big question is, what questions do you all have about this election coming up?
Madam Clerk, first reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 1024, 2023, determining the method of making the public improvement of construction.
I really feel like we have an impact. A good example of this happened to us relatively early on. We're covering a Cleveland City Council meeting, and somebody was presenting, but it was relatively wonky, like any city department might be. One of the council members stopped them and said, "Hey, We have documenters in the room. So could you roll back and actually explain that in a little bit more clear way so that residents can understand? That's a huge impact.
Would you happen to have a copy of the community calendar? Just wanted to see what was heard today. Thank you.
I can't underestimate the potential to local democracies and local democracies nationwide of having this group of folks who are attending local meetings.
It's we, the people, who are here to make a difference and make lives better for ourselves and our neighbors.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.